Blog Talk Radio.
The purple angel, oh purple angel, you're next to me. Purple angel, oh purple angel, you're next to me. You're next to me. You're next to me.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host and founder of Alzheimer Speaks, Lori LeBay, and I just feel blessed to have the job that I have because I get to meet such interesting people all over the world doing fascinating and fabulous work to improve our dementia care. You see, Alzheimer Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care culture from crisis to comfort around the world. And we truly believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, that we can remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and help those live with the disease with purpose and pleasure. Together, I know that we can help people understand the true needs and we can get creative to solve the problems and the issues that this disease causes for so many in their lives. Here at Alzheimer Speaks, we are really about raising awareness, and again, we love to be collaborative, and we can't thank you, all of our listeners, enough for your collaborations. Your likes, your tweets, your shares have been so empowering. In fact, to the point that Dr. Oz and ShareCare named Alzheimer Speaks the #1 influencer on the internet for Alzheimer's. That's just unbelievable because we're just a small company with no real big budget at all. And again, by sharing knowledge, we're making a difference. And you never know when you like something, when you share a piece of material and some information and knowledge about dementia, when somebody in your sphere of influence might need it. They might need to see these pieces several times before they feel comfortable in reaching out. And so many times people tell me how valuable it is to have those resources when the time is right for them. So again, thank you so much. Today we, like all of our shows, we invite you, our listeners, to participate. I am having some difficulty, I will tell you, with our chat box. I don't know, maybe you're seeing it, but I am not at my end. And so I'm not going to be able to ask questions and pull information in. So if people, for right now anyways, if you have questions or comments, if you could call into the show at 714-364-4757. Again, that's 714-364-4757, and we will make sure that we include you in the conversation because your voice is just as important as all of ours. I'll continue to work on getting that chat box up and running so that it's functional for us. But before I introduce our first guest today, I always like to give a shout out to certain organizations and projects that are going on. The first one I want to mention is the Purple Angel Project, which is the new global symbol for dementia. If you are not aware of it, please go to Alzheimer's Speaks to our About page and click on the tab that says Purple Angel. You'll be able to get all the information. We want this symbol to be as well known as the pink ribbon for breast cancer, and there's absolutely no reason it can't be. It's free. Individuals and companies and communities alike can all utilize this symbol. All you have to do is read a legal-size poster with some basic information that says you are now dementia aware. It doesn't mean you have all the answers. It just says that you are aware of the disease and you want to help raise awareness for it. So, again, go to Alzheimer's Speaks About page, and you'll be able to find more information. You can always shoot me an email directly or give me a holler, too. I'd be glad to talk to you on how you can utilize that, because it's great for marketing, or if you're an individual, just on your Facebook page or LinkedIn pages, email addresses, cards, all kinds of things. The Alzheimer's Disease International is an organization of all the Alzheimer's associations around the world, and since we have a global audience, I like to give a shout out to them, because many times people are looking for information in their own neck of the woods. ADI can hook you up with the closest association to you. In addition, on that site, you're going to get a global view of what's going on with the disease. They've got great annual statistics that they put out. In fact, they're going to be launching, we're going to have the Executive Director, Mark Wortman, on with us a little later this month to be talking about prevention, and there's a new study on that. I want to welcome HealthStar Home Health to my group of shout-outs. I am working with them in Minnesota, and I am just so proud to be associated with them. They're doing some really great work. In fact, they really have jumped on the board. They got trained through the Alzheimer's Whisper program, and they were out at our state fair. They did a miraculous job doing memory screenings. They averaged 200 to 300 people a day and saw over 14,000 people while they were there. So it was a pretty fantastic time. I was able to be with them for a short while out there and experience the conversations and how much people just want to talk and be able to share their stories and get information. If you're looking for a holistic approach, the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation, again, is a great platform for information. If you're dealing with Lewy body or frontal temporal lobe, or if someone's got aphasia, you need to go to those organizations as well, because they really have great information that can help you there. On the social aspect, there's Puzzle with Me, puzzles designed for people with dementia. The Jiminy Wicket program, which is a croquet game that's intergenerational and creates smiles per minute. And then Choral Health with Music First has an app for music. And I'm very excited to just mention, too, that Alzheimer's Music Connect is going to be coming out with a holiday CD that I think is going to be absolutely fabulous. So I will keep you posted on that one as we get more information with that. I can't believe the holidays are approaching so closely already. Now, today we are going to have a really, I think, exciting conversation. When I talked to Stone Morris and Sarah Gorham, who are the co-founders of the Grind Dining, I was just kind of blown away with their passion, their creativity, and their ability to take it to the next level and really make a difference. So I'm going to introduce each of these women, and we'll pull them into the conversation, and I will let them talk about the hows and why of Grind Dining. Stone Morris has over 24 years of food service experience in restaurants and catering, country clubs, and five-star luxury hotels. The positions she has formerly held in hot and cold food banquet supervisors at the Marriott Marquis, co-owner of an award-winning vegetarian restaurant, Two Chefs, and she was the grand manager chef for the Ritz-Carlton and a line chef at the Buckhead Diner. So she just comes with a great wealth of information. She became a certified working chef by the American Culinary Foundation or Federation in 1981, and she has worked for the past 19 years as an accomplished food stylist for print and film that includes commercial advertising as well as editorial profile clients like Coca-Cola and Home Depot, Southern Living Magazine, and Olive Garden, and so much more. So you can tell from her background with being a chef and then really having this eye for design, how this is going to impact what it is she has to deliver. So, Stone, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Oh, thank you, Lori. we're honored and privileged to be a guest on your show. We're very excited. Thank you for having
good.
us.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and just introduce Sarah, and we'll pull her into the show, so just bear with me a second. Sarah Gorham has 23 years of experience in hotels, restaurants, catering, and hospitality food service, with 15 years of management experience, and she has all these positions have included executive chef and sous chef, food preparation manager, co-founder and chef, and culinary consultant. So she has worked for the Marriott Hotels and Resorts, Two Chefs, Inc., opened 4 hotels for the Marriott, which is a pretty big handle there, and she has 19 years of higher education with 15 years of experience as a culinary educator. So again, backgrounds here are just very, very significant. Lots of awards have been won, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull Sarah into the conversation. Sarah, how are you doing today?
Very good. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Alzheimer Speaks.
Well, great. I'm so glad to have you guys here. I'm also going to pull in a third person here because Deb Osterhaudt is the VP of Sales and Marketing for the Arbor Company, and which is a senior living company that was formed back in 1986. And you know, they are really experts and very dedicated in terms of the experience of a daily living, you know, for their clients. And so, Deb, I'm going to go ahead and pull you into the conversation as well. So how are you, Deb?
I am just fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. And Sarah and Stone, so good to talk to you again on the radio.
Well, good. Well, we're going to go
you
ahead.
You too, Deb. Good morning.
We're going to go ahead and get started. And Sarah, I'm going to throw this first question to you. Have you, just so people get a little background on you, have you been personally touched by family or friends with dementia?
Oh, yes, I have. You know, my mother, the last 4 years of her life, lived with dementia. And, you know, she lived in a senior assisted living community for 14 years of her life. And that was her home. And she had surgery back in 2009. And as a result of the surgery, the good news is the surgery was very successful on her back, but she had difficulty in coming out of the anesthesia. And we think that at that point she might have had a mild stroke. And she had dementia for the last 4 years of her life. And you know, this is a difficult thing to watch a loved one who, my mother was, goodness, very independent, very much in control. My mother was a career woman. She was in nursing for like over 50 years of her life. She was in the Navy in World War II as a nurse. So Mom was a very take charge kind of a woman. And when this happened, it was so hard for her, obviously, to see her challenged as far as losing her control, losing her independence. And it's a gradual process, but as it happens, it becomes so difficult to see, you know. And I know dementia from not the caregiver end of it, but from being a family member and seeing a loved one afflicted with it. That's why when we took on this project, it really did have very special meaning to us as far as how can we improve the quality of life for individuals that have Alzheimer's or dementia in a dining experience. You know, dining is more than just nourishment. Dining is tradition. Dining is culture. Dining is the sharing and socialization of family and friends, you know. And if there's any way we can, you know, really make an impact on individuals that have dementia, you know, that's what we were trying to achieve here.
Okay, great. And I'm going to go ahead and just ask Stone the same question to see if she also has had anybody in her personal life dealing with dementia. And let me see if we can. There you are, Stone. Are you
hey,
there?
No, yes, I am. No, it has never touched my family on a personal level, but I think as chefs, we just we're caregivers, we're nurturers, and we show our love through food. And when we were exposed to the problems and the difficulties and the challenges of those that were afflicted with dementia and were challenged with the use of utensils, we just believed that there had to be a way that we could help them.
Mm-hmm.
And we put our heads together with all of our experiences and developed this program. And we focused on what the residents could do, and that was they could use their hands. And then we focused on the food, and we let the mechanics take care of itself, so to speak. But we just we went back into our Rolodex of techniques and methods, and we knew that it had to be very, very simple, because the back of the house or anybody at home taking care of somebody with dementia had to be able to do this. It couldn't be complicated on any level. So it was a tall order trying to figure out what could we do that was completely nourishing and satisfying, and at the same time be accessible for the resident as well as the food servers and food preparers and the chefs, for it to come together. And it really was, our method really was a blessing and a gift and an inspiration. It's very, very simple, but yet it's so revolutionary in its ability to bring good food back into their lives and restore that.
Wonderful. I'm going to just ask Deb the same question here. Deb, have you, I know that you work with people most likely with dementia at the Arbor Company, but have you been personally touched?
I've not been personally touched by family members, but by friends of family members really all around me. It's just amazing the numbers of folks that Alzheimer's and dementia reaches, especially these days, with the early onset and the early diagnoses. So I have been very, very touched by it, and of course I'm touched by it every day at work.
Mhm. Okay, well, wonderful. It's just always nice for people to kind of have that little bit of background to see if there is any personal contact. So Sarah's the one who had it in her family. Let's go on and talk about your company and how did the idea really get started? Sarah, was it through your mom's experience that this really came to you?
It was an opportunity that came to Stone and myself as far as, and I'll let Stone talk about how the actual dining came to be and the inspiration, But we were approached by the Arbor Company to assist them in developing a dining program for their memory care residents. They found that they wanted, and it was primarily for individuals that were on a finger food diet, individuals that were more in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's dementia that could no longer use utensils and eat with their fingers. So it was really to help them. How can we provide a dining program for these individuals, regardless of their physical limitations, be able to eat nutritionally, as well as with independence and dignity. And that's where Stone and I collaborated on this process. And Stone, if you want to talk about how the grinding piece came to be and that solution.
Yeah, sure. Well, when Mary Campbell, who is the Vice President of Operations for the Arbor Company, approached Sarah and myself, she asked us if we could if we had any ideas for menus or solutions for food, for memory care, finger food. And my first question was, what is memory care? And I said, do you mean hors d'oeuvres? Because as chefs and in the restaurant hotel, finger food means cheesy puffs or scallops wrapped with bacon, finger food. But in assisted living, it is food. It is the primary source of food to be eaten with the fingers. And so Sarah went and took a look at a community and came back and just reported that it was just very sadly lacking the whole dining experience, very limiting. The residents were being served, grilled cheese sandwiches and fish sticks and
chicken fingers, French fries, very similar to the type of foods you would serve your toddler, that were finger foods.
And, when she told me this, I just thought that, what are other people doing? How are they solving this problem around the world? And I got on the Internet for a day, and I searched high and low, and there were no answers. It was either being spoon-fed, eating soft scrambled eggs, eating with your fingers, like Sarah said, chicken nuggets, and toddler food. And I just did not give up. I believe that if you were passionate about an idea that did not exist, we would create one. And I meditated, and I just thought for, I think, 3 days straight. And then I had a memory of my great-grandmother as I was a little girl going into her home, and I remembered she had a grinder in her kitchen, and she would grind the fish for the Sabbath meal, gefilte fish. And I thought, I wonder. So that morning I went out and I bought a grinding attachment for my KitchenAid and 3 chickens from the supermarket, and Sarah and I just went to town, cooking and grinding, and then we added vegetables, and we ground that and mixed it with the chicken, already seasoned and flavored, and then we took rice and we ground that, and we combined it, and we said, I think we're on to something. And that's how grind dining came to be. Just
that's
the grinding
how it started.
And combining
right.
of the protein and the carbohydrates and the vegetable. And we would put it into forms or molds or scoops. And you could pick it up easily with your fingers. You did not require any chewing because it was already ground and broken down. And you could enjoy essentially exactly the same meal that was being served to the rest of the family. For example, if you had roast chicken with rice pilaf and broccoli, we could grind and combine those ingredients and serve it in a small finger-sized form that would smell and taste exactly like the roast chicken dinner because it is the roast chicken dinner. And we don't know why nobody thought to do that before, but there you go. And anybody can learn this technique.
Well, what I love about it is that you saw a problem and took your skills and said, hey, let's try. I mean, it didn't seem like failure was a concern, and I think so many times failure is what stops people from trying to get creative and trying to fix an issue because they just get so overwhelmed of what if it doesn't work. And you guys were just like, hey, let's just try this. And,
I was determined because you see these beloved elders, these poor souls, and every ability has been taken away from them one by one by one by one. And to me, just because they could not use utensils or they didn't have their teeth, I just refuse to accept that they could not enjoy the exact same satisfying nourishment and good food that we all get to eat. So it was very exciting to be able to give something back that they could do and they could have.
And for those of you that
Alzheimer's is not a barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
For those of you that are listening via the computer, you'll see just what some of these dishes look like, kind of a before and after. And to me, when I saw your PowerPoint, we were talking, I was just amazed. I was amazed, and I was excited because I thought I would eat that. And I came from a place
exactly
where,
right.
My mom had the disease for 30 years, and so the last 4 in particular, and she was on pureed food, which is kind of the next level. But it just looked like slop on a plate, and half the time we didn't know what it was. You couldn't really tell by the smell or anything. And but prior to her needing to have pureed foods, there was a time where using utensils was difficult. There was a time when she got really upset seeing someone else eat with their fingers and not use utensils because it wasn't the proper food to be eating with your fingers. And so to me, you've taken 2 things and made them dignified. You've made people who aren't in need of this type of food necessarily. You've made it okay. You've dressed it up.
Yep.
It looks nice, where I think they're actually going to want it because it looks so beautiful.
Yes,
and
there's no stigma and no dirty fingers or greasy fingers.
No.
We've made it very neat.
Yeah, it looks very specialized and very, very wonderful. And then for those that can't use utensils, again, it creates that air of independence for them to still be able to feed themselves, have a healthy, good food, and still have the respect of those around them, which I think people worry about, if it's true or not. But I just think it's one of those stigmas with the disease and with being independent. I'm going to go ahead and pull Deb in because, Deb, at the Arbor, you're utilizing this system, is my understanding. How was it for you when you saw and heard about this the first time? What were your thoughts?
Well, Sarah and Stone do not paint that picture that they should, because this was a Spencer meets Hepburn, Sears meets Roebuck kind of moment when our VP of operations had a conversation and a cup of coffee over the fence with Sarah and Stone, and it truly was. It was one of those important dates that will go down for us. Because as part of our strategic vision at the Arbor Company, certainly dining services is of the utmost importance. I mean, everybody that we're charged with caring for has some sort of physical or cognitive challenge. That's why they're in assisted living or memory care. And oftentimes these residents struggle with altered appetites and tastes. They have impaired ability to feed themselves with dignity and comfort in a dining room setting, and as a result, when we offer foods that are less appealing, lack of quality and taste, we have diminished nutritional intake and we have weight loss issues. And the Arbor Company has a very, very resident-centered approach, and dignity and independence is as always in the forefront for us as we try to come up with innovative programs and ideas and techniques that can help our residents not only thrive but have dignity and excitement in their life. And I had a conversation with Sarah and Stone just a few days ago, and one of them, I think Sarah said, food is memory, and we have the opportunity 3 times a day at least to evoke beautiful memories. So, we went back to they came into our test kitchens, and we were their petri dish, and, gave them a set of parameters. We've got folks with cognitive and behavioral issues that include the decreased sense of smell and taste. So as a result, they reject certain foods. That's the mush that you were talking about. We have folks with physical dysphagia, visual impairments, poorly fitted dentures, and, the loss of the ability to manipulate utensils. So there's another barrier. They have communication issues that leaves them unable to express their desires or the feelings or concerns about food. And then, of course, we've got the food and menu-related issues. We've got restrictive diets. We've got foods that are unappealing in texture and in form and limited menu choices. And then, ultimately it's the dignity issue. Sarah and Stone said about, with these parameters, these challenges and barriers in mind, and we partnered together. This grind dining is just amazing. So this food retains the full taste and texture and the appearance of whatever meal it is they're serving. It's just so innovative and revolutionary, and it converts and replicates daily meals into easy and manageable, nutritionally complete meals into bite-sized portions. But if you've ever taken a look, I hear you saying you have Sarah and Stone's PowerPoint. This food is just beautiful. It's a sight to behold. And the neat thing about this is that we don't, in many cases, have a need for separate menus. Sarah and Stone's food, anybody can eat it. You don't have to have these challenges, related to, cognitive or physical. It is appealing, and it is absolutely out of this world. And we have had sample taste tests for our families, and residents, and the response has been just overwhelming. So at the end of the day, if you took away all the beauty to this, and there's much of it, the healthiness of this food is where it's at for us. Because if we can get our folks to eat and eat nutritiously, they can live much more active and productive lives, not only in our communities, outside of our communities. So it's been a really exciting collaboration, and it's our luck to have found Sarah and Stone.
Thank you, Deb.
Wow.
Well, thank you, Deb.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Deb, I think for a lot of our listeners, because anytime there's change, and this would be a big change, I would think, to incorporate in the kitchen, did you get pushback from your staff initially, both cooks and just general direct care in terms of what's this going to be and how's this going to work and what's it going to entail?
Right. What we generally do is when we go into a community, we'll do a taste panel for the community staff, and that's very important because this is a change. This is a change of culture, so to speak. And we'll go in and we'll prepare the foods, grind dining foods, and so that we can have the staff and everybody. It's pretty much a across the board initiative, from the receptionist to the maintenance person to obviously your kitchen staff and your caregivers. Everybody in the community tastes and experiences the food, and they're able to experience it, and they're able to see a comparison plate, such as on the slideshow you have your baked tilapia with raw rice and asparagus that you would serve in your main dining room. Well, then you have your grind dining food, which is the ground foods and on the plate and things, and they're able to taste it. And very importantly, I think, as you know, if a caregiver likes the food they're serving to the residents, they're going to help, serve that food. And it is different. It is different. But again, the caregivers are very important, that everyone buys into it and understands it. And the way to do that is to do it through education, through a short PowerPoint orientation with the staff, but very importantly, that they taste the food, And, caregivers have been very positive to it as far as, going in and serving the food and giving us feedback on that. And then the kitchen is something of which it's a step that we incorporate in. So in some cases, you don't need a separate menu. So, it's the same menu, and we'll take that cooked food and grind it and then form it into a base in many different forms and then serve it. So, as far as any pushback goes from the staff goes, we've been very fortunate. It is a change, and it does take training, and that's what we do. It's really been very positive. And caregivers, even in the first pilot, Lori, with the Arbor Company, we weren't there a few days, and, one of the caregivers came back for breakfast and came and gave me a big hug and said, "Oh, Chef, thank you. They're eating food on their own." And she had like tears in their eyes. They're eating, and we found that the caregivers, because the residents were able to eat more on their own, more independently, it relieved the caregivers at service time for meals for them not to help so many residents, but really concentrate on the ones that really did need help. So that was one of the great benefits that we found immediately from the grind dining.
And the family members as well.
Right. Ultimately, when we were there and were doing pilots and things of that nature, we would talk with family members, and family members recognized and saw a difference. They saw a difference almost immediately. We were shared a wonderful email. We were probably 3 weeks into the first pilot at Crabapple here in Atlanta, the Arbor Terrace at Crabapple, and it was from the husband of one of the residents in their memory care units. And he shot this beautiful email stating he was there on Friday to visit his wife, and his wife was sitting there getting ready for lunch, and he was going out of town that day, so he was going to be there just a short time. And all of a sudden, he saw his wife sitting at the table. She had her bib on, and all of a sudden the wife had a spark in her eye. And it was something that only he would recognize, he said, that something good was going to happen. He saw that in his wife's eyes. And he was like, what is she getting excited about? So he looked around, and he saw that the hot box was coming in for food and so forth and so on. And then it hit him. He was like, well, I see it. There was a change. We have service standards, and one of the service standards is that we put a tablecloth down, a linen tablecloth at service time, and linen napkins. And he realized it. He said, my wife was sitting there with a white tablecloth and a beautiful blue napkin in a pyramid, sitting there in her bib, and she was excited. And he realized that she's excited about lunch. And we were able to engage her. And he said, at that point in time, she could have been anywhere. She could have been there at the Waldorf Astoria, with her father years ago having tea, or with her friends with the Wizard of Oz. But at that point, and at that point in time, that moment was everything the world could offer. And it was just such a touching email that he sent to the executive director of that community, that he recognized that lunch service was different, and she was eating, and she was engaged, and she enjoyed herself. And if you can do that, that was just a wonderful moment that was shared with us.
Wow, that's so touching. For him to be able to pick up on the difference, and for her to feel so gratified at being able to, be part of that experience. That's just got to be a phenomenal feeling for the two of you to think that you've made such a huge difference in people's lives. That's just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Just so rewarding, just so rewarding. And a lot of times, people will say, well, they're not there. It's our for us to engage them. How can you engage them? And that light comes on, How can you engage them at dinner time, at lunchtime, through the senses, through aromatherapy, for the look or feel of a linen, for a warm washcloth, warming their hands and cleaning their hands, that type of thing, and just to
also
stimulate
the smell of food.
The smell of food, to stimulate the senses.
engaging the senses. I don't believe that Alzheimer's takes away the sense of smell and the taste and the texture of food. And it's intuitive that when you smell something good, your hand reaches for it and you put it to your mouth at any age. There is no loss of appetite that we have seen when somebody with Alzheimer's is hungry. And we've addressed the frustrations involved with serving them. And so there's no limit to what they can eat. They can eat anything they want to with this method. It's great.
Right. And some say we eat with the eyes, and the presentation that Sarah and Stone have implemented and worked with our staff on is just outstanding. And, it's a sight to behold. And just really based on the visuals, these are people who, when they come to our communities and communities around the country, in dementia and memory care, they pay the most, and in some cases they get the least, don't they? And it's incumbent upon us to make sure that they have everything and then some that we could possibly give them at the opportunity to have at the community level. And so just the visual presentation and like Sarah said, somebody going back in time when, she used to go to the Waldorf with her father to eat. That's the experience that we're able to give many of our folks. It's very exciting.
It's very exciting. I definitely agree with that. I just think it's absolutely fabulous. Now, Sarah, is this a patent that you have for this type of food and for the procedure?
Yeah, grind dining is a patent. We do have a provisional patent on the process of grind dining. Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay, great, because I would definitely want you to be protected on that because it sounds absolutely fabulous. Have you, I know that you've worked with Arbor, have you worked with other companies, or are you just kind of in the process of getting this out? And so
Sure. Yeah, we have other clients, and we were at another community, another client that we have out of the Chicago area this summer, and they've just completed the beta test up there at that community, and it's a senior assisted living organization. And one of the nice things that we did with them was we tested the grind dining foods for memory care, which quite frankly turned out to be outstanding, the results. But they also have a skilled nursing unit, and we targeted about several individuals within skilled nursing that could benefit from this, and we found this to be very effective dining service for them as well, and the results were very good. So, right now we are, working with other clients, and that's what we do, that we're working with senior assisted living companies, primarily especially that do have memory care, but we found that skilled nursing is a good opportunity as well, and that's what we do. We go in and we will train and set up a program on the grind dining method and technique, and also set up a dining program for them as well, as far as front-of-the-house kind of service standards as well.
Okay. And, Stone, can you tell us about how long does it take to get a company up and running?
I think I'll pass that one over to you, Sarah.
Okay.
How long does it take? I'm sorry, what was the question?
How long does it take
to get a company up and running? And I would imagine that that's going to vary depending on how many sites they have. But if you just are talking one particular site to get the staff up and running and trained and comfortable with serving this type of food.
Right. Generally we'll test the community over 4 to 5 weeks, and we'll come in there and we'll we'll train the staff and be there on site, depending on where it may be, over, a week and a half, 2 weeks kind of period of time. And when we leave, then we have basically measures there that we get from caregivers. We have an evaluation form that the caregivers fill out that really does measure resident intake and whether the resident enjoyed the food, the accessibility of the food, things of that nature, so that we can monitor that and we tally those results, as well as we have the kitchen staff, kitchen management, send us photos of the food and also taste panels, so that the taste panel they're using as training, but then giving us feedback on the taste and texture and things of that nature there. So generally the pilots usually go for 4 to 6 weeks, and then from there then we work with each individual company as far as how we may implement it across the board at their other communities. And it really depends on the size of the organization, but it's something with the Arbor Company that we did, and it basically, between the pilots and then the training of their 17 dining directors and then implementation of that, it took us about a year for the Arbor Company at that time, and they had 17 communities, So, and if an organization has less communities, they can probably do it in less time. But we want to make sure that, again, they have the proper resources and training and tools for it to be a sustainable program.
Okay, well that makes sense. And Deb, for you, for getting the staff up and running, how did you feel the process went?
Well, it was, for us, we took it probably a bit slower than Sarah and Stone have to do now, because we wanted to make sure that it was just very slow and methodical. Wouldn't you agree, Sarah and Stone? It was probably a bit slower. And we wanted to make sure that the rollout was just right, and we rolled it out in specific communities where we knew we had the absolute right staff that would absorb the information that Sarah and Stone were imparting, and the pearls of wisdom, and had the the real skill to roll this out the way it needed to be rolled out. So I guess that's a pretty ambiguous question. It probably took longer for us just because it was, a brand spanking new program and idea.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. And I mean, anytime, a community decides to make a significant change like that, I mean, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money, it's blood, sweat, and tears, and you want it to go in smoothly and roll out nice, and there's a lot of work. I think there's a lot more work that goes into these types of changes than most people recognize, and I would imagine there was some equipment that needed to be purchased as well as just procedural changes.
Yeah, the equipment to start grind dining, in the kitchen, honestly, and the service is really minimum though, and that's one of the beauties of it. The kitchen would need to get a grinder and some pans and some smallwares, depending on the organization. Front of the house, they may need to secure some linens, but the capital outlay of doing this is really, very minimal. It can be under $1,000 depending on the organization. So, we want it to be cost effective for the organization,
Mhm. Yeah, and that's critical, especially in this day of budgets, and people are looking so tightly at costs and being efficient. But it's not efficient to cook food and throw it out that people aren't eating either.
Right. Right.
So there's a lot to be said for that. I just think that it is so fascinating. Now, Sarah, were you able to use this at all with your own mother?
No, my mother turned 91 when we started this project, and when we completed the second pilot, my mother actually passed away the day after that. And Yeah, and so, but I visited her in that spring, and my brother and I were talking to her, and my brother said, tell Mom what you're doing, and I told her, and Mom was I could tell she understood, and there was just quite honestly the look of contentment and proud that we were doing this kind of thing. So we weren't able to test it on my mom, but she was aware of what we were doing.
Mhm. Well, that's interesting. That's kind of like my mom too. Over time, I mean, there was, earlier on she knew some of the things I was doing, but I knew that she was proud.
Yeah.
That you're out there making a difference. So, well, this is just, like I said, fascinating stuff. Why do you think more companies haven't started something like this? Stone?
I think, like Sarah mentioned, this is so unique. It's so simple, but it's so unique. It's almost too good to be true, but it really is true, and it really is good, that we're having to educate and people have to experience it and word of mouth, because nobody has ever done anything like this before. So there's nothing to compare grind dining to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of time, I believe. And because
a lot of work,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
A lot of organizations now, Lori, are concentrating and seeing that memory care and skilled nursing is an underserved area as far as dining goes, okay? And they exhume a lot of resources and Alzheimer's training and things of that nature, which is wonderful, but this is a very important piece to it. And I think a lot of companies are looking at memory care now and how can they better serve memory care residents in the dining sense,
Mm-hmm.
And they realize it is an important quality of life issue. And as you know, dining is an important piece for every senior assisted living organization, that they can use it as a point of distinction as far as what may make them different, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But again, it really is, and we applaud the Arbor Company, for seeing that there was a problem and that they wanted to address this and they wanted to meet the needs of these residents. And pretty much what the chairman said at a meeting that when we rolled this out, when we were talking about why are you doing this, and as part of your strategic plan, and what the chairman of that organization said, well, because it's the right thing to do. And it is. It's the right thing to do. How can we provide residents a nutritional meal that meets their independent needs and with dignity? And the Arbor Company did it, and there are other organizations out there that are looking at doing the same as well in different type of formats.
Okay. Well, good. I just, like I said, I just have been so impressed with this, and I've been trying to spread the word any which way that I can about this. Now, I've got I think a question from somebody in our audience, and I think it's Harry Urban, but let me see here. Harry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We can all hear you. Did you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I do. I'm really fascinated with this concept of the grind menus and stuff, and I was wondering, can a concept like that be worked into a memory cafes concept? Now, I'm thinking along the lines of we have these memory cafes, and it would be wonderful if we could have some kind of a simple menu set up with this type of cooking. Is that possible, or am or do I have the wrong concept of this?
No, absolutely. If you are serving any kind of hot meal, Terry, are you serving a hot meal at these cafes at any point of the day?
I'm thinking ahead. I have a dream to have a memory cafes running 24/7 all over the world, and most of the memory cafes we have were set up like in a church or something like that. But a memory cafe could be set up in a place run like a McDonald's or something like that has this grind cooking, and it's such a unique concept that I think it would be a big draw. But I don't know if it's economical feasible to do it because memory cafes have no budget. So I mean,
well, wherever you would
I'm not
serve
sure how to work that in.
Wherever there is a hot meal being served, it could be transformed very easily into a grind dining extension. So,
Okay.
yes, and answer your
right,
question.
and even cold food. You know, we have
And
great
even cold
applications we use for salads and things of that nature, such as chef salads and things, and you can put those into bite-sized portions. So, yeah, it would work there.
Okay. So I know, we've got a couple of, and I should have introduced Harry a little better. Harry actually is living with dementia out in Pennsylvania, and he's quite the little mover and shaker. He has a group on Facebook called Forget Me Not, and he also started one in Spanish for Spanish-speaking people as well, though he doesn't speak Spanish. He's learning it with his dementia. So he's just pretty fabulous guy doing some neat things himself. Here in Minnesota, we've got like 3 groups that I work with, and we've started several others, and there's probably 100 or so memory cafes in the country now, just in the past 3 years. But I think most of them are serving, probably cookies and coffee, type thing for these meetings versus a meal. And I could be wrong, but the majority of them that I see and hear and talk to are doing more of, more snacks. Some of them are getting a little more healthy and doing nuts and vegetables and things, but a lot of them are muffins and cookies, I think. With that. But that's not to say that it couldn't change. So a question I think that might be appropriate too would be, can somebody purchase this equipment and get trained to cook this kind of food in their own home, or is it just commercial? And Sarah,
Right now we're targeting senior assisted living and skilled nursing and memory care, but Stone and I are working on a solution or solutions to the home caregiver. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's a huge need for that, and we've started looking at some different options that we can put out there. We want this to be a viable solution for everyone affected with cognitive disorders or neuromuscular or chewing disorders. This will benefit them, and it's something that we're looking at doing, and hopefully we'll be able to have something in place, within, not immediately, but I would say within the next 6 months to a year's time in some form.
Yes, we'd like to put out a little how-to manual on a small scale, just the basics, how anybody caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's could do this at home, and teach their children to do this at home.
It would be wonderful.
So yes.
Well, and it's just like I said, when you look at these plates, I mean, you'd think you're at a 5-star hotel. I mean, the plating of the food is spectacular. It looks very, very appealing. I can't say appealing.
Well, thank you, Lori.
And I would never think that this was created due to what some might call a disability. It just looks like fabulous food, that you want to eat.
And that's the point, not to marginalize an individual because of their lack of some type of physical ability, and you'd be surprised at how many people say, that looks good enough I'd eat it. It's like bingo, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Then it's good, you know.
Yeah. It really does look very, very beautiful, and I wish I had the experience to actually try it. I've just been able to see it from pictures, but just from the looks, it smells and tastes good visually of what I can imagine. so that's good.
And the grind dining it is a technique. No, you do not have to be a chef to be able to use this technique. And when people ask us if it tastes good, we say, does your food taste good? Because that's exactly what the grind dining extension is going to taste like, because it's the same food, just a different form.
Sure.
That's the only difference.
Now, as far as cost, does it cost more to prepare food like this? And Sarah, I'll throw that to you.
Well, I mean, within a facility such as a senior assisted living, it's the food cost is built in. So whatever your food cost per plate per meal is there, it's the same. The food cost is the same, you know. And in fact, if companies are using prepared products for finger foods or different things, they can actually save food cost, you know, because they're preparing the same food. They're just, we're grinding it and putting it into another form.
Okay. So as far as time frame goes to prepare, does it take more time? And I would imagine that that's going to vary depending on the menu. But can you kind of give us an average?
It's another step in the process, and the grinding of it. We may form it into like you see like a meatball shape, or we may take that base and wrap it in a pastry or a crepe or something of that nature. So it really depends on what you are going to do with that. But we work with the dining directors and the executive chefs and help them realign production so we are able to, do it efficiently. And we were able to do it with the organizations that we've rolled this out with without the additional labor costs as far as cooks go. So, but it does take some realigning of production. It does.
Yes. But we were able to streamline it into production. So if there is a meal and they want to serve 10 to 20 to 30 people in their memory care unit, it's just a little additional time to run it through the grinder and put it in a form, because the meal's already cooked for the main dining room or the independent living. So, but, in the time it takes to make a puree, you can have a fully satisfying meal.
Okay, so let me ask something silly. So when you grind, the food is already cooked then? Is that correct? And then it's formed, or is it ground and then cooked?
Our method and techniques takes cooked food and then grinds it.
Okay.
And we do that for various reasons, but that's a technique that we do use. And one of the beauties of grinding too is, you can adjust the grind, the coarseness or the fineness of the product you're putting through it, and it breaks down the connective tissues of the proteins, but it's still it maintains the foods maintains natural textures, which is very important for dementia residents, I think, as you know. And there's no additives in our food. Okay, it's all the natural textures of that menu item. So that's one of the beauties of it.
Okay. Well, that's all great information to know. We've got just a couple of minutes here left. I wanted to just check. And Deb, was there anything that you wanted to add from the Arbor Company, and you're using this method that you'd like to add before we end this portion of the show?
Just that it has been a wonderful augment and addition to the array of really innovative ideas that we've had at the Arbor Company. And, again, we're so fortunate to have that relationship with Sarah and Stone and to have had that first.
Oh, we just lost her. So her call just dropped for whatever reason.
Oh, goodness.
She said it usually doesn't, but, that happens every now and then. I do want to just say for any of our listeners, too, if you would like to call in and ask a question, because I'm not able to monitor the chat box for whatever reason today. It's just not working, and I've tried with help support, too, and we're not getting anywhere, so I'm going to have to deal with it afterwards. But you can call into 714-364-4757. That's 714-364-4757, and we'd be more than glad to take your call. So, and answer your question or hear your comment about grind dining. Stone, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
I just want to thank you for this opportunity in this forum to be able to tell the world about grind dining. Thank you so much, Lori.
You're more than welcome.
We're just trying to spread it out there and just feed some hungry souls.
Well, good. And,
yeah.
I'm hoping that our listeners will help share this episode with people that they know as well, because you never know who needs this information. And it might be a family member that ends up bringing it into a community.
Oh, absolutely.
It can go any which direction, or maybe
someone
just wants to try it at home.
Yeah. The silver lining to along with not needing utensils, the silver lining is we realized you didn't even need teeth to eat this. So, along with people with cognitive impairment, this process would work for anybody that had dental issues or muscular dystrophy or anything that were challenged physically. So it's just been a blessing.
Right. ALS, Parkinson's disease, those type of things. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and just for so many, it can make a huge difference. It could be somebody who is perfectly fine, but, broken arm, and it would just, be easier for them during an interim period. You don't know. It could be somebody with swallowing difficulties. This use is far and wide beyond
know.
dementia.
And for family members can let go of the horrible guilt they feel watching a loved one being spoon-fed or having to spoon-feed, just to be able to regain that dignity and independence. So we have tried to look at holes or downside in this concept, and we have not found one. It just gets better and better, the positives.
Well,
in this technique and method.
And it's nice because I am sure when family visits, they can eat the same thing, and
exactly.
Everybody's equal, which is a wonderful thing. Equal and independent.
And everybody deserves to eat the same great food as everybody else.
Exactly.
With utensils we were born with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sarah, anything that you want to add?
No, we appreciate it, Lori. We so appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and your listeners and to you and what you do within your organization. You truly are a servant leader out there, Lori, and like you said, knowledge is empowerment, and I know you make a difference in the lives of individuals every day, and congratulations.
Yeah, it's wonderful for bringing all of us together and collaborating.
Well, together
we really
can
make a difference. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can and we are, and it might be slower than what we'd like, but we're on the move and we're growing, and it's all good stuff. And again, we're here with two just fabulous chefs from Grind Dining. Sarah and Stone, they are just absolutely amazing, and they are, through their product, able to preserve independence and dignity. Pretty cool.
Yay!
Well, plus,
again, if your
Mhm.
listeners do have any questions or things of that nature, they can check out our website at grinddining.com, and you have a link on there, and they can email us at our email address. We'd love to hear from all of you.
Yes.
Yep.
We'll answer all of your questions, personally, and in any way that we can help you on a one-to-one basis. If you'd like to try this at home, maybe we can help you with that.
Sure. So again, that's www.grind, GRIND, and then dining, DINING.com, or you can email them at chefs, and that's CHEFS at grinddining.com. Again, Sarah and Stone, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lori.
And
thank
again,
you, Lori.
I want to thank Deb for being with us.
You are a blessing to the world.
Yeah, Deb for being with us with the Arbor Company as well. She can be reached through arborcompany.com, and or just there's a link on the page as well to go ahead and get to her. So if you want to hear more about what it was like for them, I know that she would be more than happy to speak with you as well. So it doesn't look like we have any callers from our audience. Again, I apologize that the chat box is just defunct today. Not quite sure what's going on, though there was a full moon last night, so that explains a lot.
That's crazy, Lucy.
Yeah, it seems like every time there's a full moon, there's some issues with technology. So thank you both for all of your work and what you're doing. It's very important, and I'm really looking forward to watch you expand and grow with this phenomenal concept that you've come up with, Grind Dining. So thank you so much.
Well,
thank you for having us on.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye.
What a fascinating concept this is. Again, before we kick into our open mic, which I'd love listeners to call into, which is 714-364-4757. Again, that's 714-364-4757. So we can have a little chat here. It is Alzheimer's Month in September, and World Alzheimer's Day is the 21st of this month as well. But before I get into that, I just want to do some mid-program highlights here and just talk about a couple of things. One is that we've got this afternoon, we're going to be doing our Dementia Chats, which is the free webinar. It starts at 3 p.m., and that is Eastern Time. That would be 2 p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and then noon Pacific Time, and we would love for you to join us. I will be posting something on that shortly after here, or you can always go to our Facebook page, Dementia Chats, or go to Alzheimer Speaks on the About tab to Dementia Chats to get the link to enter. Again, those are free. We go for about an hour. And our experts are those with dementia. So it's always a fascinating conversation. I always learn so much. And Harry Urban, who was on the show earlier with us, is still with us right now, will be one of our experts, along with Dina Dotson, who we haven't had a chance to speak to, Dina, for a while. So looking forward to that conversation. If you missed last week's show for the radio program, we talked about toxic foods and GMOs and modern disease with a researcher from MIT. And then we also had the Goodman Group on talking about their Food for Life program. So that was a wonderful show as well. On the 23rd, we're going to be doing a special 2-hour program on the air here called Keeping Safe in Today's World, and we are going to be talking about Project Lifesaver. We're going to be talking about wandering, how to prevent it, and what what do you do if it occurs? And so that'll be a fascinating conversation. And again, we would love our listeners to participate in that because everybody has different experiences, and it's all about learning to share. So let me go ahead and pull in. We've got, I think Michelle is with us, our intern. Michelle, are you there?
Yep.
Hi, Michelle. So how are you doing today?
I am doing good. Time got away from me for a little bit. All of a sudden it was 11.
Oh, not a
phone.
problem. We are still here, and I'm going to pull Harry back in too. Harry, are you still there?
Sure am.
You are. Well, I'm,
Yep.
Right now we're just going to do open mic, and the audience is free to go ahead and call in. I cannot, for whatever reason, get my chat box to work today, so again, I apologize for that. People can email me, though, at Lori, Lori, at alzheimerspeaks.com if they would like. And I can try to monitor calls that way as well. Harry, is there anything in particular that's on your mind? I know you've been very busy with World Alzheimer's Month here.
Yeah, I've been busy, but I just want to get back to one thing about this grind dining that we talked about in the past at the past part of the show. The concept of that is, in my mind, is amazing because it opens up the doors for so many things. There's so many of us living with dementia. We can't go out dining anymore for various reasons. The crowds, things like that. So we eliminate that part in our life, but. Mm-hmm. We're okay with going out to like a memory cafe or something like that, and the wheels are going in my head so fast I can't wait to talk to these people, and that it would be wonderful to give everybody the opportunity to have that eating out experience again. In a very comfortable atmosphere. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems so special to me that, for some reason now, I don't understand the whole concept. That's why I want to get on the website and get in touch with them and find out a little bit more with it. But I'm so excited about that the possibility of people living with dementia experiencing that again is wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. And like I had mentioned earlier on the show, I remember a point in time where my mom got really upset, where she lived, watching somebody eat with her fingers food that she didn't think was appropriate, and they make everything appropriate to be able to, just pick up and eat. And if somebody wants to use a utensil and can, all the more power to them, but it's not necessary. And the plating is so spectacular. I mean, it really looks very, very nice. It'll be interesting to watch this concept spread, because I really do think that it will spread and it will grow, and it can be beneficial to everybody. I mean, kids who don't like to use utensils as well, to adults that just want, a more texture and touch with their own food. It can be used in so many different ways. So, and it's done in such a respectful fashion. So, I know that Stone and Sarah will love to talk to you, Harry. More on this concept. Teepa Snow, who most of our listeners probably know, she's like the top national trainer for dementia, works closely with Arbor, and we were going to try to have Teepa on to talk about her thoughts with this too, but couldn't work that out with her schedule. But she just thinks it's fabulous as well, and has nothing but good things to say about it. So that's another great endorsement there. We've got a caller on the line, so let me see who this is. So we've got somebody from a 202 number. You're live and on the air. Did you have a question or a comment?
Hi, this is Craig. I'm calling from Leading Age. And just a comment, it's sort of unrelated to the grind food, but wanted to let your audience know, you and your audience know, about our great event coming up in October. It's called the Leading Age Hack Fest. And we're gonna, it's a hackathon to help older adults. And that's leadingagehackfest.org if you want to check it out. And we thought you might be interested in knowing about it.
Yeah, in fact, I'm so glad you called in, Craig, because I was interested in learning more about that, and my chat box blew up so that I couldn't find it. So, can you give us? Can you state the actual URL that people can go to, or can they just Google the Hackfest?
They can do both. It's leadingagehackfest.org, or you can type it into Google and it'll come up.
Okay, so Leading
and we're
Age.
We're on social media. We're on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Okay, wonderful. And can you tell us a little bit about the agenda of who's all going to be at the Hackfest?
Sure. We have students and professionals from around the United States. We have teams coming from Georgia Tech and Brown and other universities from around the states. And then, really, unlike other Hackfests, instead of just having front and back-end developers, we've invited designers and gerontologists and business experts and clinicians, and really anyone was welcome to apply who had an interest in aging or aging services. And we put teams together, and then on Saturday, they will spend the entire day hacking. And the idea is to create a tool that could help either older adults or their caregivers or family members. And last year we saw the winner was there were a lot of ideas and tools around interconnectivity between people that are aging in place and people that are living in a community, like a retirement community. So a lot of great ideas last year, and we're hoping to see even more. It's it's relevant to people living with dementia or without.
Okay, and the applications for this, it looks like, was September 5th, but people can still go in and participate and watch it, or are the applications closed for this at this point?
Applications to actually be on a team are closed, but if you're in the Nashville area or planning to come to the Leading Age annual meeting, you can definitely come by and see the participants at work. And myself and the other coordinators will be there to chat with you. So we'd love for anyone and everyone to come see what we're doing.
Okay.
And we may have a couple stickers or something for you to give away.
Okay. And it looks like the grand prize for the winner is $5,000, and there'll be 2 runner-ups at $2,000 apiece, and then a People's Choice Award for $1,000. So this looks like a really an interesting concept. So I appreciate you calling in. And again, people can go to Leading Age and then Hackfest, and Hack is just HACK and then fest.org. So Leading Age Hackfest. .org, and this will be down in Nashville, October 18th through the 20th. So if you're in Tennessee, it would be a great place to go. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us about that. We'd love to hear, when this is over with, too, if you want to call in, maybe we can do a show on who the winners were. And
sure,
what
I'd love to give you a follow-up.
Yeah, what technology was developed. So if you just go to alzheimerspeaks.com, there's a big contact button on my website. Just shoot me an email, Craig, and we can see if we can set something up. Okay?
Happy to do so. Thanks for taking my call.
Well, thank you. Have a great day. Well, that sure sounds like an interesting concept. Michelle, what do you think of that? Michelle is our intern, and she's going back to get her master's. What do you think of something like that?
I think it's an interesting concept. I'd never heard of it before, but it sounds like something I would be interested in participating in at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like they must do this every year, and would be really interesting to see on that. So yeah, it would be definitely worth. You're so innovative and creative in terms of what you do. I'm so proud of Michelle. She just gets out there and jumps in with both feet in the deep end and goes for it. So she just opened up a memory cafe, Harry, not too long ago, and it's nice to see a young person really jumping in and taking an interest with it, and she's doing a fabulous job. She's been doing some speaking and various, just all kinds of stuff this one's up to. So, anyways, Michelle, do you have anything? You work at the Northfield Senior Center. Are you guys doing anything special for World Alzheimer's Month at all?
Not that I know of. We have our Demystifying Dementia series coming up in October. So that's what we've been putting a lot of energy into planning right now. Okay.
Well, that'll be good. Who all is that for your series? What are you doing for?
You are the first one as our keynote on October 7th. And then we have one of the local physicians that's going to come in and do a medical perspective on the 14th. Kari Barrett is coming in on the 21st to cover caregiving, and then we're doing a panel discussion on the 28th.
Oh, great. Great. Well, that's wonderful. You guys are doing some neat things down there. Harry, what's new on your plate? Are you doing anything in particular for World Alzheimer's Month, or?
No, not really. I'm just so involved in this, Lloyd, that there's no special day for me. I mean, we do it. I just got done with a mentor session at a local hospital here, talking to newly diagnosed patients with dementia, and that program has gone so well. We had 25, 30 attendees at the meeting, and it's really nice because now when I was diagnosed a little over 10 years ago with dementia, there was no place for me to go for information. And you get on the internet, and the only thing you can get is information on the latter stages of any type of dementia. And I wasn't in the latter stages. And now so many programs are springing up now that gives everybody the opportunity. I mean, it's amazing. When I just think back, it was so discouraging a couple years ago that we weren't getting any place. And when you just settle down and look back, we're making a lot of progress. We have a long way to go, but we are making a lot of progress. And thankfully, a lot of the younger people are getting involved in this, and they're going to carry the ball for us.
We hope so. We hope so, because we definitely need them very, very much with the growing numbers of, all of us getting older and this disease starting to attack people younger and younger. We need everybody on board with this. That's for sure. That's for sure. Now, Harry, how is you started your other group, your Forget-Me-Nots for the Spanish speaking. How is that going?
That is going great. Now, like I said, I'm learning Spanish. I can't even call myself a novice because now we started Spanish lessons, and we meet every week. It's a virtual Spanish lesson, but my dementia lets me forget a lot of things. So the things I do learn, I forget. But the concept of the Spanish group is there's no barriers. I mean, this dementia affects everybody, and we have such a large Spanish community that here in the United States that they need help also.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spanish group is strictly for Spanish speaking, and it's a whole new family. You know, it's strange because if I get on the site, they know I don't speak. You know, I can translate. So I have a basic idea of what they're saying, and as long as I don't try to speak Spanish, I don't say the wrong thing, and they know what I'm trying to say. But it's just a family that you're welcomed into. I mean, everybody has the same problems, the same fears, the same frustrations, no matter what language you speak. And that's why I'm so happy with that group.
Well, that's good. That's good. And how about Dementia Mentors? Any updates from that group?
Dementia Mentors is growing leaps and bounds. Now, Dementia Mentors was designed for people with dementia, but it's also for caregivers. On the website we have, DementiaMentors.com, we have a section with videos. They're like 2-3 minute videos done by people living with this disease, and they explain their feelings, what they're going through, what they're living, and things like that. And caregivers are learning so much through that. Now, we've been keeping statistics on the website, and it's now covering over 26 countries. You know,
wow,
that's phenomenal. Fantastic. And it's just it's being spread by word of mouth. And, I mean, I'm so proud of that site that it's unbelievable. It just proves to me that there's a need for this.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep, that's for sure. There definitely is. And this is a site that just launched. I think it was like June 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So it hasn't been out there all that long. And to be hitting that many countries and have that much collaboration is just fascinating. You know, that you're able to do what you're able to do is just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable in terms of touching hearts and souls, making a big difference there, Mr. Harry.
Well, see,
you know,
this is what happens. This is what happens when people come together, and it's so nice because the mentors we have comes from so many different countries. You know, United Kingdom, Wales, Australia, you know, it's fabulous because we now have a way of coming together and fighting this disease.
Mm-hmm. Well, the communications through social media have just opened so many doors. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And the changes that are being implemented because people are able to share thoughts and share knowledge, and it's you know, it saddens me it's taken us this long because so many people have fought the internet and will it even be effective and you know all of those types of things, but you know it is what it is, and you know everything happens at its own pace when it's supposed to. You know, so Michelle, you had just written an article, and I'm wondering if you can tell people a little bit about that article that you just wrote on the blog this Sunday.
Yep. I don't even remember. Someone to talk to is, I think, what I titled it. But I was getting ready, finding information for my memory cafe for tomorrow, and I was just thinking about, you know, how important the group has become to them. And we've only, I think this is the 5th time we've met, and how everybody needs somebody to talk to. And while you can tell your friends and stuff kind of what you're going through, they don't always completely understand, and the support group kind of gives that aspect. Everybody there, at least on some level, understands what everyone else is going through.
Mm-hmm. which is really important. And I think, Harry, that's one of the things that you really like about the Memory Cafe is just it's such a comfortable place for people to go. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not a support group. We don't have, at least the ones I'm involved in, it's not a support group per se that we have somebody speaking or anything that it's just a social get-together. And we talk about whatever comes up. It doesn't matter. And people come just to be together. They don't come to our memory cafes to maybe to learn something or something like that. Most of the people come just to be together and share their stories, share their life, and things like that. I mean, people, we talk about things that happened when I wasn't even born. But you know what? It's so fascinating to hear these people talk about the struggles they had when they were children or things like that. I mean, I get so much out of these memory cafes.
Yeah, I absolutely adore them too. It's incredible the information I learn at every single one of them. You know, because each of us that participates in these gatherings is a teacher and a learner at the same time. Just by sharing our life experiences, and not just about the disease, but just how do you live life well. You know, our group is going to be doing an event in September here, I think it's the 23rd, at the library called Living Well and Safely with Dementia. And basically what we're going to do is have 3 couples talk about how they adapted life with dementia. And we did this once before. I think it's actually on the 24th, at the Roseville Library in Minnesota here. And but people were just shocked, that people with dementia could talk and participate in an event like that. You know, so I mean, we were breaking down stereotypes for that and the stigmas, and then people were just fascinated at what they learned. You know, and how they could help other people that they know dealing with dementia. And then we're going to have the police and fire department with us as well, talking about, you know, preventing emergency situations or wandering, and then if it happens, you know, how do you respond? You know, how do you be the most effective to help police and fire and emergency room staff with a loved one if something would occur. And so I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be kind of a 2-hour thing that we're going to do, and we're holding it like a town hall meeting because we want the participation of those in our audience as well. So, but again, from the Memory Cafe, you know, a lot of people have come in not sure that they want to be there, thinking it's a typical support group. And I think what Harry and Michelle would both say is that these are really social gatherings that offer support. But the focus isn't the disease. It really is the camaraderie of being around others that you feel safe and comfortable with, that are like-minded, which is what we all need. And we go through different transitions if we're, you know, a new parent, or you know, maybe we're empty nesters. You know, you kind of gather with those that are going through similar experiences, and that's exactly what a Memory Cafe is. They're just filled with love and support and hugs and laughter and sometimes tears, but lots and lots of knowledge and an authenticity level that is rare to come by. You know, people are just so connected so quick because they're so real. You know, there's no walls, there's not much for masks and barriers. Harry, is that what you see in your groups?
Oh yeah. It's funny. A couple of years ago, if I mentioned to somebody that I have Alzheimer's, they all took a step back, and because they didn't understand what this disease is, but now nowadays, I don't see that too much now. Yeah, every now and then you come up with somebody that doesn't understand the disease, but that just means you have to educate them. You have to let them know. But so much changing. I mean, the world is changing so fast, and it's really hard to keep up. And more people want to get involved in bringing awareness. That's what's so nice about this. And now that we have the momentum going, we can't let it stop. I mean, it's every day we have to say we need your help to beat this disease. With me, I'll never see a cure. I'm sure of that. But you know what? I'm seeing a better quality of life, and that's all we want. You know, we want a better quality of life. We want to do away with the stigmas. You know, we want to be able to walk outside and not be ashamed that I have dementia. And that day is coming. That day is coming very, very fast.
I agree. Michelle, how have you seen your group? Because your group is fairly new. Has it grown, or is it about the same size, or?
It's stayed the same size. They don't typically like to miss meetings. In my group right now, I think because it's so new, they like to get as much information as they can. So while they share what's going on with them and stuff, a lot of it tends to come back to, what about this, what about? So we kind of cover a lot, and tomorrow I think will be an interesting one because we have a lot that they want to cover. So.
Okay. And I think every group, switches and changes what it is they need, and a lot of times when they do start, people are just anxious to gather knowledge, and then as they become kind of the core group, I think things typically start changing into more of that social support because they have the basics down, and there's kind of that safety net that's set. And not that information isn't shared and isn't needed. We still do probably about quarterly we'll do an actual program, some type of, and typically it's an informational program. We've done estate planning and things like that. Harry, do you do any specialty programs at all with your Memory Cafe?
No, because you have to realize now, the people that attend our cafe, like I said, we give these speeches at the health campus, and so we get a lot of people from that. But they come and go. Like there's sometimes that somebody with dementia, they're in that downside of this disease and just don't want to participate. Things like that. So. It's a thing that you have that core of people that come every meeting, but you also have a lot of people that come and go, and that's the whole concept. I mean, it's okay to come in, and if you can only stay 15 minutes, that's fine. If you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, it's not mandatory that you sit down and you wait till the program's over. That's not what we want. We want you to come in and feel comfortable. And if the excitement, anything gets too much for you, it's okay to get up and leave.
Yeah, you've got to have that flexibility. That's for sure, for people to feel comfortable. We have one gentleman with us, and for whatever reason now he doesn't like to sit, so he stands most of the time. And his wife used to try to get him to sit down, and doesn't anymore, because that's just where he's at. With his comfort level, and nobody bats an eyelash, because we all love Stan, and he's absolutely wonderful. And so it's very interesting how the groups kind of morph. We have 3 that all meet at the same time, and our first group's been gathering for 3 years now, and so they're seeing drastic changes in terms of decline in some of the disease process and stuff, and where life has taken them. And then we've got 2 newer groups, and so it's very interesting to watch. But the wealth of information from all is just fabulous and shared, and is so supportive. It really is like no other group that I've ever been involved in before, in terms of the authenticity and the friendships that are developed with that. So, Michelle, was there anything else that was on your mind that you wanted to talk about, or?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I was trying to think.
Uh-huh. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Was there something you wanted to say? Harry, how about you? Anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, I was kind of interested in how long is your memory cafe? Have you got a time period that you say, okay, we're going to start at this time and then at that time? Because with ours, we start at 6 o'clock, and it goes until it's over with. And sometimes it could be 9:30 until we get out of there, because people just, and some days it's, it could be an hour and a half, and everybody's ready to go. Is there a time frame that you have on yours generally, or?
Yeah, we go from 1 to 3, but what we've noticed with the group sometimes is that some people might get a little antsy after an hour and a half. And so we said now that, we've got the 2 hours blocked, and if people need to leave early, don't bat an eye. Just, go ahead and get up and leave, and those that want to stay will stay. So it's very informal. Kind of go with the flow. Other times we've had people, we typically don't formally keep our space because we have to kind of sign it out, for that specific time. But we have people hang out sometimes an hour or so afterwards either. So, and they come early and have lunch together and stuff. So it's a full afternoon for people, and we meet from typically 1 to 3. We find before supper and after lunch is really a good time. It allows people, if they want to take a nap, to still be able to do that, or if they have other errands that they have to run, and not get stuck in crazy traffic either. So that's because that's been an issue where. And we don't do one at night, though we're starting to get more requests from people to have evening or weekend memory cafes. So as I go out and talk with people, that is something that we're discussing, but we haven't launched it yet. Initially, we had one in the evening, but we didn't get anybody to show up. And I think part of our problem was we started it in the fall, and our winters here can be, dark and cold and slippery, and people don't like going out, and so then people ask, can we just have them both during the day? So then we switched both of ours to 1 to 3 every twice a month with that. So
we have a couple virtual memory cafes, and that's growing more and more and more. I mean, it's like I can have a virtual memory cafe every day, but the one we have in a local church, the local people, the caregivers are working, and we wanted to have it at a time that anybody can come, and we have a lot of people that's in the early stages that still work and things like that, and they just couldn't make it at an earlier time. So we try to set up a memory cafe that suits anybody.
Mhm. Which is nice. Which is really nice that you did that.
Yes.
Michelle, what time is your memory cafe?
Ours is 3 to 5 is what we have our room reserved till. the first couple of times we went the full 2 hours, and now we're kind of finishing between an hour and an hour and a half just because some people can't sit that long, and so we wrap up and go. But
yeah, and every group is a little bit different, and that's perfectly fine, because it really is about meeting the needs of your community. I get calls all the time of people saying, can you send me the criteria on how to do this? And I'm like, it's just not like that. It's just not that structured. It really is about meeting the community need. And I find if we send out a criteria, they lose their creativity and they stop reading the needs, and they fall in the box of the criteria. And so, I've purposely not written a criteria, though when I go out and speak or train on this, I have a definite mode of questions that they need to ask to determine, help them determine what are the needs and how are they going to reach the people and those types of things and stuff. But we're so anal as a society of, give me the step-by-step process, that it kind of saddens me that we've lost our ability to be creative and move forward. And I think dementia is going to kind of change that. I think it's going to demand that it changes with that.
We started up a mini cafe for caregivers. Now, we usually think of mini cafes for people living with dementia, but we started up a virtual memory cafe for caregivers, and they started at 9:00 at night. And I think last week there was 20-some people that came on virtually, and they talked, and it works out so well for them because at 9:00 at night, they usually have their loved ones settled in for the night or whatever, and they have time that they can just sit down and chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that concept is going to be very, very big too.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that you're really meeting the need that's out there, and you've taken into consideration, the time frame that's required, that's going to work with people's schedules. And again, depending on where they are in the world is always going to have some type of effect on things. But, for here in the U.S., it seems like that makes a lot of sense. Is that Eastern time, Harry, at 9 p.m.?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, wonderful. And then to get to that, is that on? Where is that listed? Is that on the Dementia Mentors page?
No,
is it posted to that?
It's actually on my wall on Facebook.
Okay. So on your personal wall or on Forget Me Not?
Yeah, on my personal one.
Okay.
We just started this up, and it's kind of new, so it's kind of hard to get the word out.
Okay.
But somehow the word is getting out. But if you go to my personal wall, you can get the link to it. And anybody's welcome.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. Wonderful to know. Anything else you want to mention, Harry?
Nope. I got to say something for 3:00.
Yeah, for our dementia chat. So, how about you, Michelle? Any blip picture that you want to say before we sign off here?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I thank you both for joining us. And again, if you are just joining us late, you might want to listen to the beginning half where we had Sarah and Stone, who are both chefs, on for grind dining, a very fascinating concept, I think long overdue. We also had Deb with the Arbor Company on with us, who has instituted the grind dining procedures in their senior living facilities. So check both of them out. I do want to mention again the Purple Angel Project. If you're not familiar with this new global symbol for dementia, we would love for you to check it out. You can go to alzheimerspeaks.com, go to our About page, and then just click on the Purple Angel page. There we have all the information for the U.S. launch. We have not formally launched it yet. We're still I'm waiting for my intern to finish a couple of things, and hopefully we'll get that done yet this month here. But we want this global angel to be as well known and recognized as the pink ribbon is for breast cancer, and there's absolutely no reason that we can't do that. It doesn't cost you anything except a little bit of time to read a short poster, and then you're able to be off and running utilizing this in, you can put it on your Facebook page, your LinkedIn, your emails, your marketing materials for your company, etc. Everything is laid out there at alzheimerspeaks.com on the About page for the Purple Angel. If you're in need of an Alzheimer's Association anywhere in the country, check out Alzheimer's Disease International. If you are interested in some holistic ideas for how to care, check out the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. And I do want to remind people that Mark Wortman with the Alzheimer's Disease International organization will be with us later this month. He's going to be talking about a new study that will just be released for World Alzheimer's Day on prevention. And if you're dealing with Lewy body or frontal temporal lobe or aphasia, make sure that you check out those organizations. They have a lot of specifics that can really help you in terms of living well, with dementia. And last, I just want to give a shout out to my wonderful company, Custom A Design, who does my website. I don't know where I would be without them. They're just absolutely fantastic. And I also need to give another shout out to HealthStar Home Care. They are doing amazing work, and I'm really having a lot of fun working with them here in Minnesota. They're also in some other states as well, but they are really tackling home health and dementia very, very well, have done some specific training by the Alzheimer's Whisperer, and we're going to be having that whole group on too, so you can learn more about that training session and style and so forth. So we will talk to you all in a week. And don't forget to mark down on the 23rd. We're going to have that specialty show on keeping safe in today's world. We're going to be talking about Project Lifesaver. What do you do in an emergency, for wandering or elopement, whatever you want to call it, or exploring. Everybody's got their different names to it. And I know Harry's going to be part of that show as well. So thank you so much, everybody. And Harry, I will talk to you later on Dementia Chats at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay?
Okay, I'm anxious.
Okay, sounds good. Bye now. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, bye, Michelle.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Lori LeBay, and I wanted to tell you about Alzheimer's Speaks, which is another great podcast. You see, my own mother lived with dementia for 30 years, and I felt lost. Did you know every 3 seconds someone in the world is being diagnosed with dementia? Odds are it's going to hit your families too. We want to help you connect to services, products, tools, research, and stories so you can be prepared. Please subscribe to Alzheimer's Speaks on your favorite podcast platform.